If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Things with Wings Productions, with the support of Whimsical Productions and Collected Sounds, presents the Skylark Bell Fantome Friday. I'm your host, Melissa Oliveri. On the last Friday of each month, we will pause our reading of Meadow Lane and the Skylark Bell and instead cover a real-life supernatural, or at the very least, unusual and unexplained experience. In today's episode, we will recount the story of Jack's room. And be sure to stay tuned at the end of the episode to hear an original song by Cannelle about this experience. So get settled in, grab a blanket, a warm drink. We're getting started. Jack's room. I was only a child, maybe 9 or 10 years old. It was Christmas time, and my father, stepmother, and I were visiting relatives in Quebec City, Canada, which was about 4 hours away from where we lived. Rather than get a hotel, we were going to stay at my great-aunt Marcelle's house, since she was on a trip overseas for the holidays. Great-aunt Marcelle was my father's aunt, her sister being my grandma, Rochelle. The house was a curious old house with a strange layout and big, heavy antique furniture. It had belonged to my grandmother's father, my great-grandfather, originally, where he had raised his son and 4 daughters, first with my great-grandmother, then with his second wife after my great-grandmother passed away. He was a successful businessman, and the house sat in an upscale neighborhood just outside Quebec City. I had been in the house countless times for gatherings that often included up to 24 family members. Whether we were celebrating Easter, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, the house welcomed us year after year. But this was the first time I would venture upstairs and actually stay in the house overnight. We parked in the driveway and took the front walkway to the door. It was that time of night when the sun had just gone down and the sky was dark blue, making black silhouettes of the trees and surrounding homes. We stumbled through the entryway with our suitcases, and I made my way to the front parlor. Suddenly, a flash of white streaked across the room in front of me, and I let out a shriek. My father quickly flipped the light switch, and in the glow of the antique light fixture, I was able to see my great-aunt's white cat, who was aptly named Fantôme, which was short for phantom, the French word for ghost. The cat was quite old and quite deaf, and meowed quite loudly, unable to hear itself anymore. We made our way into the house, turning lights on as we went, and hauled our suitcases up to the second floor. I was put in a small room at the end of the hallway, while my father and stepmother were in a larger room just down the hall. Exhausted from the trip, we decided to go to bed early. I don't recall anything specific happening in the hours that followed. I just remember feeling absolutely terrified. The walls of the room were covered in wallpaper that had a vine pattern to it, and I felt like those vines were going to twist around me, trapping me in this room full of frightening negative energy. I was the type of child who was afraid to bother people, especially her parents. Normally, I would never have made a fuss about which room I was put in. Normally, I would not have been pushy about wanting to change rooms. But nothing about that room felt normal. I would not stay in that room. So much so that my parents ended up letting me sleep in their room, which was pretty unheard of in our household. Something about what I said or how I was acting led them to believe I couldn't stay in the little room at the end of the hall. About 10 years later, while on yet another drive to Quebec City with my father, I asked if he remembered that strange night at Great Aunt Marcelle's house when I was afraid to sleep in the little bedroom with the vine wallpaper. My dad replied, "Oh, you mean Jack's room?" I paused and looked at him, perplexed. I didn't recall a relative named Jack. "Who's Jack?" I asked. And my father explained that Jack was the brother of my great-grandfather's second wife. He was originally from Montreal, but for one reason or another, he was living with his sister and her new husband at the house near Quebec City. We arrived at our destination and visited with my Grandma Rochelle and aunts and uncles. The whole time, I was just itching to visit Aunt Marcelle, who had since sold the house and moved to an apartment, so I could ask her if she remembered anything more about Jack. When we finally pulled up to her apartment building, I couldn't get through the main door and up the creaky old stairway fast enough. But then we had to sit and wait politely and patiently. Being in her late 80s, Great Aunt Marcelle didn't have the fastest pace, as she brought us drinks and a tin of Danish cookies. Finally, she settled into her chair, and we were able to ask her if she had any stories about the mysterious Jack. Lucky for us, she had quite the tale to tell. According to Great Aunt Marcelle, Jack did not much like children. He would sit on the front stoop and shout at them or throw rocks if they came too close to the house. One morning, Marcelle was on the main floor of the house when she heard a loud thud upstairs. She rushed up and found Jack on the floor of his bedroom. He had been bending down to tie his shoe and collapsed of an apparent heart attack. Marcelle was sent to fetch the priest, but by the time the priest arrived at the house, Jack had already died in the little room at the end of the hall. Again, I don't remember precisely why I wouldn't stay in that room. I don't recall seeing an apparition. I didn't see or hear things moving by themselves or catch strange shadows hovering in the corner of my eye. I just felt like I was not supposed to be there, like something wanted me out. Knowing what we now know about Jack, I can easily imagine that if part of him was still in that room, the last thing he would have wanted spending any time in there with him is a child. Thank you so much for listening. Next, we will resume our adventure in Meadow Lane and the Skylark Bell. Last week, in Chapter 4, Magpie let us in on her secret, that she keeps a sketchbook in which she records the psychic visions that come to her. And we met her surprise guest, an unusual cat who suddenly appeared at her back door, then hinted at a connection to the old farmhouse, before disappearing just as suddenly. Next week, we read Chapter 5, Sunset on the Bridge, where Lucas finally tells Magpie the impossible truth about Meadow Lane, and Magpie experiences yet another mysterious vision. Be sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Now, keep listening for an original song by Cannelle inspired by today's episode. Here is Jack's Room. I'm on my knees before you, down on my knees before your walls, dropped my convictions for a small chance of a glimpse of her again. I'm on my knees before you, down on my knees before your vines, somewhat like looking through the semi-opacity of time. Here, on my own, with your ghost again, we're here. On your own, with my ghost. I'm on my knees for you. Your plans can twist around my eyes. You say the last time you just ran, but this time, not this time. Here, on my own, with your ghost again, we're here. On your own, with my ghost. Last time you just ran, this time you just can. Last time you just ran, but this time you just can. Your plans can twist around, man. Last time you just ran, but this time you come back, Jack. Your plans can twist around, around I'm on my knees before you. I know I'm not much one for prayers, but please let down your veil of eyes, so I can find her through time.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.